Gonna need those marshmallows, whatever flavors. I'm good with a lot of different kinds. You want to do the sciencey kind or chemistry kind? I'm into it. I'm down to try the reaction if we need, what is it, platonic chromatic acid or chromatic platonic acid. I think, well, we're going to need to make sure we get that right. For the most part, that's what a lot of this is day and night locally, or just keeping track of the local science center and things like that, which we'll get into in here in a minute, Hancock. I'm trying not to run too long on a 5 or 10 minute brief. But that's generally the gravity you want to have one of these fields. In this case, they sheets or slides in some reasonable fashion, tucked away, ready to go. Ball skull map is my go-to, either the Shaking Hands of Danger JSA pitch or the squib round. We're going to put a point, carbon 12 to paper, and we're going to quantify some X, Y's, and Z's about it going down the pipe. What that general equation would look like if we took it out and put it through the wall, about some metrics multiplying in the real models of what this is, and get this thing to get animated, move around, pick up the dirt and the rounds out of the dirt, one over rock inside here, which is the nature of setting up any water treatment, road crew, town office, sheets meeting. Back to a JSA pitch on this thing. When you want to dominate the baseball coach or coach's principal because you're doing the substitute teacher day, well, you want to come in with a pitch that's tailored to the specific model of what you're dealing with and break down into individual hot dog chunks. This is, again, the PDF main line. You might have to do their own fixing and specify certain criteria to them. Oh, somewhere's in here. Not going to make it easy for me, Harry Bones. Supposed to be. One of them spelled wrong. Or they need to be fixed. I did fix it, but I don't know where it is. Your responsibilities. You're going to have to fix this and go through that information. Here, it's a total overhaul of everything to make sure that you can get it down into whatever kind of station brief you're needing to do, and being able to apply those models in terms of places you've been around, your resumes. How do you want to make it look tailored specifically to this setup inside of here? And again, this is my general do everything kind of page. I got, a great mill video where I'm kicking up paperwork and going through some problems, and have paper models inside of here, which you can take a picture of, or you can actually do the code for when we take these pictures and images and we line them up with our VS code here, and we get into, where'd you go? What the page is going to look like. Now we can get times and other things inside of there. Only work math problems or city sites or whatever parcel map you're breaking down specifically. Here in this case, back to the stone mill variances on it. We're going to take that to Con US in this case, just because it was my rep. I got military bases going, and I figured which ones are the depots, Army, Navy, Air Force, where are they stationed, is a good way to lay it out. And around the mill, back to some of those books, that's a really important number about what your chemical stations are, who's your security detail, who's your infantry, your cops, your ground units, supporting elements. Here in this case, Alabama. Just because it's an A letter, gives you an idea what to start with, how to build down the brief accordingly. That's the oversight page. Get into the specifics of what they're doing in terms of what their site is, what that location looks like. Really nice and clean here. And it's going to start to get more complicated as we get farther down the rabbit hole about what type of numbers and how are we comparing them and indexing them as far as charts. How credible, A1, do we believe this information is? It seems to be moving that way, and people, Kilobirds did it the other day about the size of the circulatory system being 60,000 miles or something like that, circle the Earth 3 times. And yeah, maybe, but I'm not about to go, catch them, kill them on some crazy ass Class D's to really make that determination with the plague doctor over there. So, You got to find a way to click, copy, organize, and kick these out about what makes more appropriate I Am Legend case studies about how the numbers all work out, organizing it and getting the names or getting it to number by mass to identify colloidal type states of the matter around the fuzziness or the electricity distribution in town. So that'll bring us right here to Hancock. Well, what was this just before we get through to it? More of that. Probably different or a double page on it. Yeah, I'm holding some work and kicking it over. And the page cleaned up. Back to Hancock. Take you around the town square. This is where I grew up for the last 36 years. Districts have changed, but the county's generally the same. That's where that is, and we'll come in here, and that's the first view I want you to find. You got to walk in through that NP problem. It's a shell. Sometimes just getting around is the fuzz, not necessarily there's some spooky monster out there in the woods over there. You'll drive past and wonder what the hell were those kids thinking making a statue like that and putting it out there in town. But hey, honest Eddie, it is what it is with the populations. They are what they are. We're going to get more into that. What are you going to see? That's, again, the U.S. Census. I want you to know a couple of things about regional areas and some of these other things super important to get into mind about what's going on in here. And so here we have your bus garage, or no, your village office, excuse me, your west end that's located here. When you want to come find it, that's your main town village or whatever it is, and that's one of these. Yeah, I think the town buildings and the state buildings are there, and this one's here. There's your police station. There. Town square here, there. Okay. Gonna help you get around if you're new. That's the fire station. This is the water treatment facility. This is your waste transfer station, garbage facility, recycling. State building in itself is up there. And you got another kind of state building, DOT and state, and those are there. And a public works building and some electric grid thing over here. With that, you got a post office I thought was interesting. We want to make sure we have, or a telephone company here because the way the wires work, I couldn't necessarily find the electricity, what was going on beyond the power grid. So that's where those things are. They're not on one homogenized map. You'd have to lay that out, just look at it, and then put them all on a map that you click copy and off of sheets. And we'll put words to this stuff later, but this is the first page of quantifying the whole problem. When I can't necessarily get the good optic, how do we put it together? Well, I still want a view of what it is, and I still want that to be simulated in the location, and also the notation of its bus garage features inside of there as well. Now, let's pull out a little bit here, get back up into 50. And this would be a sheets presentation, or great for a sheets breakdown if you want to get specific about the bank, the Sydney Federal, this real estate building. Is it a physical site still for us, or is it on the arborization, one of the 100 sites that are realistically a business, at least at the commercial level inside here, integrating some Kenosha in Pennsylvania off of the end of the bigger factories out on the far end of what it does. Here again, some notations of whether trailer parks are integrated into this notation, or specific fire stations or civic buildings, post office, nature center, Legion Hall, library, history center. Here's a national park out there, and that's going to be, I should add another picture of that, but from that area over here, I got it somewhere in there. Anyways, got the churches and cemeteries. That's mainly what we got. There's a bingo hall somewhere supposed to be in there. No, I put the bingo hall on the main set. Blood bank on top next to the Legion Hall. They're the top of the hill. And that topology. A couple of ghost sites. We got whether they were up there and needed to be integrated down here, or I left them in terms of what it is kind of questionable. But either way, it's 100 and some odd sites, 95. Plus a few, plus these sites, but are kind of sovereign grounds in terms of any area that's large enough to be able to handle out there French Woods, Pizzetti, what's this, the Kenosha far side or something like that, I don't remember. This is specifically any kind of Kenosha that you could before topology makes a big problem for you about going along the river and Sands Creek and other things like that. What else we got in here? Tell you to light it up. You know, this is your town. Do some of the things after a run. That tree over there, me and the books and the dogs, and in that public works building, that there blackberry bush. Hey, there's 35 out there. Baby birdie nest. You know, these big old 5 pounders and everything you catch with the hillbilly spinner out here. And you know that's the job. You got to get that done and get it up inside of here. Pull it down. We're going to utilize again those 2D land standards. You're going to come in here, want to use this system, break it down, start coming through the steps and processes. If I did get it in order right here, I think. You know, mind the angle of the slope inside here about what's M1 and M2 at times. It's usually that way from a ground guy's perspective. E2 to E8 in the first Roman 7 days, right? Yeah, so you got to figure that out. Get in there in front of, you can imagine a picture is right here. There's the terminal, there's the rock, she's on an angle, and up in here in your Terminator HUD, she's going to cut just like that. Like you can bend light, right? Put a little light to it. This is that floor scale. Again, we just got done looking at it a while back about that thing that lights it up inside of here for you. Alright, I think you know where I'm going and why you would need critical skills like that to be able to handle what you're doing inside here, whether this be osmosis, water treatment, or actually farther out arborizing the ball skull map cemetery here when we need some real numbers to get the world engine as close as possible in the incompleteness theory.